A little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt.
Sam Hunt's joining us this morning. Good morning, Sam.
Good day. Hello, Wammo. How are you?
I'm well.
I've just been. It's a time of year that you read your kids' school reports.
Oh goodness.
No, he's done bloody well.
Oh, good.
Alf. He's good. So he's off to high school next year.
Do you ever find that you have to do that Parent Teachers Day where you got to go in and talk to the teacher?
I don't actually do that. They come and see me.
Oh, good. Yeah, that's how it should be.
It's a delegation.
That's how it was done, I think, in the past.
Excuse my apologies.
That's all right. So he's off to high school. Wow, what a milestone.
He's actually in. Alf will be in what we used to call Form 2, year 8 next year.
Right.
But he's but he can go there and So the school has been absolutely wonderful. But he's out. It's time to move on.
Yeah.
So he's moving on a year earlier.
Is he keen?
Oh yeah, because he loves the music. He's just playing and playing. He's got his band. What do they call, PowerPoint or something like that? Yeah. Power Surge or something.
PowerPoint's a good one.
They're playing at the Funky Fish at Bailey's Beach on Sunday. There's giving the Suns gig a plug.
Cool.
And so he's great. Very, very good. I'm very, very lucky father. It's quite funny. You sort of find that just before you rang this morning, I was just checking the level of the tanks, as one does in these remote parts.
Yeah.
Because we've had the phones off for the last 2 days. All the phone lines have been out, and the whole,
What's caused that? Do we know?
Yeah. The brethren in town were digging up some cables, and they dug up the wrong cables. Hey, look. Before I get sidetracked, let me a couple of poems I want to talk about if I've got time.
Yeah.
And one is just to do a poem I wanted to do last week when I was doing some of Lindley Edmead's poems.
Yeah.
And there's one little short one which I love very much. I wonder if I'd just like to read it, tell it to you.
Sure.
And the Kiwi FM listeners. It's by Lindley Edmead's. I don't think I read it last week. It's called Driving. And the subtitle underneath it, she says, Near Pahia Tua. I love it, just a few lines. Over here, hills are like knuckles, hands clamped to terra incognita, in fear of letting go should they pull up the roots from the lie of the land. There are freckles across their hands, woolen specks of tutored fauna. White is splashed on a blanket of green, iridescent in the rain of another anonymous day. Here, the paddocks are full of daffodils, dancing in the wind, and time with nothing except spring.
Right.
Quite the Cummings, that last little bit, I thought. Dancing in the wind and time with nothing except spring. Yeah.
I quite like that lie of the land as well.
That's nice, isn't it?
There must be two meanings to that.
And she's got a verse break. Should they then pull the roots from the lie, and then not just the next line, but another verse of the land. Yeah, she's good. And further down, she does that sort of, I don't want to sound like a literary bloody critic here but I love the bit about iridescent in the green of another anonymous day. There's a great big gap between anonymous and day.
Yeah.
And no, she's good. So really been enjoying her work. Wellington bookseller. And that's... Now, I also this week had some poems from a person whose poems I've enjoyed, sometimes on radio, actually, and that's Richard Langston.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know who I mean?
Yeah, I know the name.
Yeah, I think he's a reporter on one of the TV channels.
Yeah.
Anyway, he's a bloody nice poet, and he just sent me his copy of his fourth volume called The Trouble Lamp. He's from Dunedin, I gather, and he's from the Lebanese, that very lovely, wonderful people from there, which have big families of them in Dunedin, of the Lebanese. And I've been looked after them many times in different ways, motels, out on, good people. So he's from that lot. And here's one I love, a little poem from his book called The Trouble Lamp, which has just come out. It's a bloody good book. So here's one called 10 Bright Days for Marion. 10 bright days. 10 bright days, it might have been more, but if I try and keep them all in the frame of my mind, they become too bright to hold. Each year, we think it might never make it back to the routine life. Each year, the blue space above the horizon becomes deeper and deeper. Early today, the kids hauled a couch down to the shore to begin their waving at the brilliance of these days. 10 bright days, it might have been more, but 10 suns was all our minds could hold. Just lovely.
That's nice.
Isn't it? That's a real St Kilda poem. A lot of his poems are sort of set on St Kilda's beach. In fact, here's one which is obviously the news of this, a very short little poem, very powerful poem called Southerly. And this is, again, well, my mind anyway certainly goes to St Kilda or St Clair and Dunedin. Southerly. Suddenly the worst of weather out of the south, bleak and chill, a change in the day in childhood which sent you shivering from the beach, the red and yellow flags snapping in the cold cut of the wind. This January day, winter news, our fathers left lung clouding up, dire weather to come. Yeah, so great, lovely too, and I'll do a couple more of his next week if we get the chance, because there's one called Horses, which is... Have you got time?
Yeah, absolutely. He's a reporter on Campbell Live on TV3.
Oh, yeah. Look, I'll do his other poems next week. Yeah, he is. That's right. And
I was just trying to read his bio, but it's not coming up fully. But I can see.
Were you reading it on the computer?
Yeah, I can see the part where he said, when aged 17, Richard collected the weather map for the Evening Star newspaper in Dunedin.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Who needs a weatherman to... What's the line? Who needs a weatherman to look through the window? You don't need a weatherman to look through the window.
That's right.
And what are your plans on the weekend?
Because it's that time of the year, party this evening.
I couldn't handle it. I went out on the Vero boat last week.
Oh yeah, let go.
Well, it's good. It's great. It's lovely seeing old friends. The Hello Sailor and Hammond and Susan and people like that who I don't usually see much.
Yeah.
And they're old friends. We go back a long way. You know Harry Lyons and Graham and Dave McCartney. Bloody nice seeing them again. But it's quite a hard gig because we go on the boat. This is this big boat that they take us out on, and of course it's full on for 5 hours, or for some people longer. But me, I go on midday and get off at 5. And it's a lovely day in lots of ways, but there's no backstage. There's no backstage, and so you're basically there.
Yeah, you're out there.
And I don't like that. I need my my place to.
Yeah.
My place to. In fact, I'm sure I'm not on my own on that one.
You need your makeup room.
You need your makeup room. What's that beautiful line? Alone we're born and die alone. Well, that's true too, and you also need a bit of time in between being born and dying,
Yeah.
You need quite a bit of time up on those solitary hills or out in that lonesome backstage.
I understand
my
that.
My next gig is a well-organised... Well, no, that one was well-organised, gosh, yes, but just it's different. But my next one, which is next week, is just before Christmas, is all organised, and there's a backstage where I can have a nervous breakdown and CPR and anything else that I may need at the time.
Also, just reading here about Richard Langston as well. His favourite musician is David Kilgour.
Well, is that right?
Yeah.
Because he said in his note to me accompanying these poems, he said how much he enjoyed Falling Debris, and in fact he calls it his album of the year.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be on a few people's lists.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Mine included.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
well,
I love
it's all going well. The other thing I've been just doing the odd thing to do with with my new book Backroads.
Yeah.
And it's funny, during the making, when I was putting that book together, I kept on calling it, I was going to call it Backroads Off Backroads. And then I had to be argued that it was too clunky, and I thought, okay. And so I agreed to Backroads, not back roads off back roads. And now I can't imagine calling it back roads off back roads. It's a bit like when your kids in the womb and you come up with these extraordinary names, and then later on you think, how the hell could I have even thought about that? I mean, Aloysius was fine, but
reality sets in.
Well, reality, the joy of reality, actually, the clarity of reality, and that's what I like to say, because I realise the book's called Backroads. To call it Backroads off Backroads is just sort of, well, less is more, we say.
Yeah. Hey, we'll talk about your water level next week. I want to know next week.
I'll keep an eye on them, and I'll be able to report in next week, and all the best to you, Wammo.
Thanks very much, Sam.
See you all. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
That was a little something for the weekend with Sam Hunt, only on Kiwi FM.